Hello? Anybody home? I'm kidding. Okay. Hang on. What do you mean unstable? Stop. No, you're lying. Hang on, guys. What? Average stream bitrate too high. I don't even know what that means, so I'm just gonna assume it's not a problem. Hopefully it isn't. Hello, welcome to a surprise random Tuesday morning stream. Why? Because if you saw last week's stream, I can't go live this Saturday, so I was like, hey, let me make it up and do a random stream during the week, just for funsies. Today, dude, it's red. It's making me nervous. It says unstable and it's making me nervous. Maybe it'll be stable soon. I don't even know what that means. Should I refresh my mod view and maybe it'll stop? No, it didn't. See, I very rarely have tech issues, so I don't even know what this means. I'm just gonna ignore it. Hopefully that's okay. Okay, I don't feel like doing that, so I'm just gonna ignore it. I could do like a troubleshooting thing, but we're just gonna hope it's it. Look, this happens sometimes. It'll turn green eventually, hopefully. Anyway, today I'm bringing back a series, and by series I mean I did one episode and then never did it again. So way back when, like when I first started streaming, like literally this was like way like okay, I guess a year's not that long ago, but it was like over a year ago. Maybe not. Oh, I don't know time spans. It was in like maybe it was like a year ago. Anyway, about a year ago, I decided I wanted to start a series called Going on a Tangent, I changed it to Going on a Tangent. I think I called it I'm Going on a Tangent at the time. I don't know. Anyway, I started a series called Going on a Tangent where I was like, I'm gonna talk about topics I really want to talk about. I'm just gonna yap for like an hour basically, and then I'll do like a whole bunch of research and it'll be like really fun because I can like research my hyperfixations and whatever. So I did one episode about ADHD because I was like, that'd be kind of funny to like do it about like the thing that's making me want to do this. And then I never did it again because I was like, I don't have time to do all this research. Like I got school and everything. I don't have time for this. So I stopped. And then I decided, you know what? I'm going to bring it back. But instead of like actually doing research, it's just going to be me yapping. So it's literally just chatting, but I only talked about one topic the entire time. So that's what we're doing today. That unstable is making me very nervous. That's what we're doing today. So this is basically just gonna be like a podcast essentially. Except today we are talking about The Secret History, a book that I literally took like 6 months to read because school prevented me from being able to read it, and it was very frustrating. I started this in August. I'm a very fast reader, so normally like this book, if school wasn't getting in the way, I probably would have finished in like maybe 2 weeks max, probably about a week, because I'm a very fast reader. But like, girl, why did this take me like 6 months? I didn't finish this until like 2 weeks ago. Anyway, let me show you the scene I made just for this, guys. Ready? So we can get into the mood. Oh, wow. Okay, you guys can't see that, but I am using the video Old Bookshop Ambience, Rain and Thunder Sounds, Warm Fireplace. My camera's covered. I can't see. You know what? You can here. Look. Wow. Okay. If anyone else wants this video, this is what we're using. And I put myself in the chair. I hope it's not too loud. I put myself in the chair, except I don't have a green screen, so it just looks funny. But it's okay. Let me make sure it's not too loud. Oh, that's not that bad actually. I feel like it's a little loud. I want it to be more like in the background. Should we try 30? 30? Hang on, I need to wait for... There's stream delay. Hang on, guys. Ooh! That's nice! That's nice! Okay, anyway. This is what we're doing today. Because I figured it matches because we're talking about this book. Oh, subscribe, guys. Subscribe. To me, not to the... I'm kidding. Anyway. We're doing this. So I figured this matches. I don't know, it actually took me a hot minute to find this video. I don't know why. So anyway, what do I need to say before we start? Before we start, this book is, I believe, young adult. It is dark academia, and it is a reverse murder mystery. I highly recommend looking up trigger warnings before continuing this stream because There are some heavy topics in here, including murder, obviously, SA, alcoholism, drug use, basically like every bad thing that you could think you could possibly need a trigger warning for happens in this book. Okay, I don't think it was like crazy dark, but I also used to read fan fiction. I never liked dark fan fiction very much, but I used to, like, you know, you'd accidentally read it because you wouldn't check the tags properly, and then you would like read stuff you didn't mean to read. Yeah, so I didn't think this was that bad, but I could definitely see why this would be really heavy and dark for some other people. So I very highly recommend. Like right now, I'm stalling right now just so you can go look up the trigger warnings before continuing this stream. Like I'm stalling so you can go do that. So go do that first. Don't watch the stream without like looking up the trigger warnings first, because I want y'all to be safe. Okay, the Isabel Choose channel is supposed to be a safe space. I want you guys to be safe. It still says that's stressing me out. Should I be troubleshooting this? Is this like a me problem, or is this like an everybody problem? Not like everybody and like everybody on Twitch. I mean, like, is this like a PC problem or like a other problem? I think it's fine. It's probably fine. Okay. See, I'm still stalling. I'm still stalling. If you haven't looked up trigger warnings yet, what are you doing? Go. I'll wait. I'll wait. You know what? I'll pull out my teacher voice. I'll wait. I've actually never ever said that. Like, I've worked with kids. I've never once said, I'll wait. Anyways. This is so cozy. Okay. Anyway. Yes, so today we're going to be talking about The Secret History by Donna Tartt. Is this book controversial? Probably. I don't know, actually. I have no clue. I know there's a bit of like a debate online on whether this book is better or like another book of hers that she wrote is better, but a lot of people say it like depends on which one you read first. People tend to like the ones they read first more, which makes sense because it's like you have like that first impression, so you're kind of like, anyway, I guess reliant on the first impression. I don't know. The best comparison I can give has nothing to do with The Secret History. The best comparison I can give is with like Hadestown. There's like there's like the original recording of like the concept album, or it is there's the concept album, and then there's like the actual Broadway recording. I prefer the Broadway one because that's what I heard first. But like I know someone who prefers the concept album because they listened to that first. You know what? It's like that. Anyway, I literally meant it when I said this is just gonna be me yapping. Okay, so today we're talking. Today we're talking about The Secret History by Donna Tartt. I thought this book was amazing. I loved it. I really want to read it again. Like I finished it and I was like, okay, I need to read that again. Because it's very much a book that's like very layered, like lots of like secret meaning stuff. Like you probably need to do like research to fully understand everything in here. Will I be doing that? Probably not. Yeah. I'm not very good at analysis yet. I'm kind of still learning how to do, like just starting to kind of really learn how to do that, which sounds like, that sounds ridiculous, but it's just not a skill that comes to me naturally. Like, I know a lot of people are like really good at analysis, or it kind of comes more naturally to them. I tend to take things more surface level, kind of against my will, honestly, but like I kind of have trouble seeing like past surface level. So this book was a little, not like tricky, but like I definitely missed like most things. And I'll get into that in a bit. But basically, I guess I'm just gonna, what am I supposed to do first? I literally have like a list next to me to make sure I don't get too off track. But this is, like I said multiple times, this is gonna just be me yapping. I'm gonna be just talking the whole time about this book. And if that doesn't interest you, that's totally fine. If you haven't looked up the trigger warnings yet, that's not fine. Go do that first. But this is just something, you know, these streams, you can just put them on the background while you're doing, you don't even have to listen to me. You can just put it on as background noise. I got background noise in my like I'll be the background noise with the fireplace background. You know what I mean? Double background noise. I mean, I don't know if this would be good to like fall asleep to because I get too excited and I talk kind of loud. But like, you know, if you're like cleaning the house or something, this would be a good series for that. even if you don't know what this book is about. Which, oh, spoilers. I'm literally gonna give spoilers to this book, by the way. We're talking about the whole thing. Okay, I'm giving there are spoilers. So if you plan on reading this and you don't want to be spoiled, I'd also turn off the stream. If you haven't checked the trigger warnings yet, go check. If you did check and you aren't comfortable with that, like even one of them, stop watching. Okay? Okay, safety first, people. I'm gonna keep going about the trigger like the entire stream. Okay, like, cause I want you guys to be as safe as possible. I genuinely want my streams to be a safe space, and if like, I don't want to like, okay, anyway. I want you guys to be safe and comfortable. Okay. See, I'm in a comfy armchair. I want you guys to be as comfortable as I am right now. Okay, anyway, so, yeah. So, with this book, I just want to say, I have absolutely nothing to add to the conversation around this book. Like I said, I'm not very good at analysis, so everything that I know about this book that's a bit deeper, that was a really sharp S, sorry. I hate sharp S's. Anything that I like know that's kind of like you have to do a bit of digging to figure out with this book is purely because of TikTok. I can't, I'm not, like there are so many times, there are so many TikToks that I watched. There are so many TikToks that I watched where I was like, I did not pick up on that. So yeah, I literally have nothing to add to the conversation about this book. I am simply giving my opinion and like first impressions as like someone who's read this book for the first time, which might be interesting to people who are into this book and have really dug into it to see kind of what it's like as someone who's read it for the first time, like what their opinion and kind of their view of it is. But I have nothing to add to the actual conversation, nor did I really do any deep analysis because, again, I'm not very good at that yet. So, you know, we're practicing, but it's gonna take time. Yeah, so that's that. Nothing to add to the conversation, just my first impressions. Okay, I can check that off the list. Boop. Okay, so why did I decide to read this book? So I chose to read this book. So y'all know one of my favorite movies ever, okay, is Dead Poets Society. First of all, apparently there's people who are like, oh my god, this is like Dead Poet. No, it's not. No, they're literally they just both happen to be like academia aesthetic-esque. Not aesthetic, but they all just happen to kind of fall into academia. Dead Poet Society is like, this is like nothing like that. Anyway, but like you guys all know, one of my absolute favorite movies is Dead Poet Society. And in Dead Poet Society is a character named Neil Perry, who is played by the actor Robert Sean Leonard. I ended up hyperfixating on that man, and I discovered that he had done an audiobook of The Secret. I still haven't listened to it, but he did an audiobook version of The Secret History, and there's like an abridged version on YouTube, and I was like, oh my god, I need to listen to that, but I don't want to be like spoiled, you know, like I want to know the book before I listen to that. I still haven't listened to it, but that's why I read this book because of a man. And there's actually the full audiobook is on YouTube of Donna Tartt herself reading it, and I also kind of want to listen to that because it's like really cool to see like what the author intends everything to sound like. But I think that audiobook literally adds up to like 24 hours or something like really long. So, because this is kind of a long book, so. Anyway, so I read this book because I was like, oh my gosh, I want to listen to Robert Sean Leonard read it to me. And now at this point you're probably wondering, okay, what the heck? Does she have a crush on this man or something? Absolutely I do. Allow me to enlighten you. Let me show you. Hang on. Hang on. Let me show you this man. That's the wrong tab. Let me show you this man. Absolutely I do. Absolutely I have a crush on this man. Look at him. I don't know if you can see. Hopefully you can. Look at him. He's so beautiful. Wow. Oh my god, Willy Wonka. Okay, anyway. I'm gonna leave it at that. Also, I'd just like to clarify, young Robert Sean Leonard, current Robert Sean Leonard is a little too old for me. He is like 54 or something. And that's just a little bit too old for me, in my opinion. Also, I always feel weird having crushes on like real people, especially celebrities. And usually they're like already in relationships, so I'm like, that feels like disrespectful to me personally. I don't know. I just don't, I feel weird having crushes on like real people, especially when they're like any sort of famous, because I'm like, I don't know you know? So I always say like character over actor, but like young Robert Sean Leonard technically doesn't exist anymore because he's old now. No, not old, but like, no, he's old, sorry. Robert Sean Leonard, if you're watching this somehow, I apologize. Anyway, so yeah. Yeah. Did it actually show you guys? I think it did. I actually didn't look. If it didn't, you can look it up. I can't scroll though. I don't want to show you guys again, and I can't scroll because there is an image with him as a character donning certain imagery that we don't want to show that. So, not that he's not in. It was a character. He's not in support of that. You can look it up yourself. Just look up Swing Kids. Honestly, it's a great movie. It's not like, okay, Swing Kids isn't like crazy deep or anything. It's like, it's not like an insanely good movie, but the music in that movie, mwah, I love swing jazz. Anyway, let's talk about this. Let me stop promoting my mans and let's talk about this. So first I'm just gonna give a very brief summary of the book, and by brief summary of the book I mean I'm gonna read the first 2 paragraphs of the Wikipedia to you, because I don't know how to summarize this without like taking up half an hour and just basically giving you the entire plot, which is what we're about to do anyway. So I'm just going to read you the first 2 paragraphs of the Wikipedia to give you a summary so you have a little background of what this book is about if you don't know. Ahem. The Secret History is the first novel by the American author Donna Tartt, published by Alfred A. Knopf in September 1992. Set in New England, the campus novel tells the story of a closely knitted group of 6 classic students at Hampton College, a small elite liberal arts college located in Vermont, based upon Bennington College, where Tartt was a student between 1982 and 1986. The Secret History is an inverted detective story narrated by one of the 6 students, Richard Papin, who reflects years later upon the situation that led to the murder of their friend Edmund Bunny Corcoran, wherein the events leading up to the murder are revealed sequentially. The novel explores the circumstances and lasting effects of Bunny's death on the academically and socially isolated group of classic students of which he was a part. I love how it says that led to the murder of their friend. Babes, spoilers, but not really, because it's literally on the first page, I think. Let me check before I say. I mean, I warned you guys about spoilers anyway, but yeah, spoilers, but not really, because it's literally the first page. I love how they say that led to the murder of their friend Edmund, that led to the murder of their friend Bunny. Like, babes, you were the one who murdered him. Y'all were the one who murdered. What do you mean? Anyway, so yeah, spoilers, I guess, but not really, because it's literally the opening page. The opening page, a classic, by the way. Everyone knows that. No, okay. The opening page literally says, it is difficult to believe that Henry's modest plan would have worked so well despite these unforeseen events. We hadn't intended to hide the body where it couldn't be found. Literally opening page. Opening page. What do you mean you murdered him? Anyway, that's the Wikipedia though. They didn't write that. They're fictional characters. Okay. So yes, that's a brief summary of the book. Now you know kind of what it's about. If you're intrigued by that and you would like to read it and you haven't read it and you don't want to be spoiled, stop watching. If you haven't checked trigger warnings, stop watching. Go check and then come back. Okay, if you're still here, I'm trusting you checked this trigger warning. If you're still okay, if you're still here, I'm trusting you checked the trigger warnings. Okay? Okay. Okay. Anywho. So yeah. I can't even get to think how it would be. Okay, sorry. That's from Six the Musical. Okay, no, stop. We're talking about the Secret History today. That's the whole point of this series. Okay. So the first thing I want to say about this book is the fact that it is, I keep saying it, I'm pretty sure it's young adult. I found this in the young adult section of a Barnes & Noble, so I think it's young adult. And the thing about young adult novels and adult novels in general is I've never been a very avid reader of them. I usually read children and teen fiction, which children sounds weird, but there are some bomb books in the children, in like the chapter books in the children's section. There are some mwah. I love the children's section of the library. I love going to get chapter books from there. It sounds crazy, but like there are some books in there that are so good. Anyway, yeah, basically my whole life I read children and teen fiction mainly, and then I started reading fan fiction instead. And then I just stopped reading altogether for like a hot minute until this book. And this book is a young adult book. It's not my first time reading a young adult book. But like it's definitely like maybe like the second or third one I've read like on my own. I've probably read some in school, I don't know, but like this is like my second or third time reading a young adult novel like on my own, like by my own accord. Ah, lightning. Anyway, I just heard it, like I don't have my earbuds in. I just heard it, like okay. Anyway, so like okay, first of all, when I was reading this book and I learned they were all like in their 20s, and I think Bunny's like 24, I was like, what? Because I was so used to them being like 16 or like maybe 18 maximum, right? To like the main characters being that old. So in my head, they're like 18, 19, and they're like, oh no, we're like 22. And I was like, oh. And then for some reason, it like shifted how I was reading the book in my head for a little bit. I don't know. Anyway. Oh my gosh, also, okay, complete side thing. This has nothing to do with this. I cut myself yesterday. I was trying to cut an apple and I cut my finger. And then the funny thing is, I was watching Twilight because I was bored. So I was like, let me watch Twilight again. Because that movie is funny as heck. And then I cut myself on an apple while watching Twilight. Can you imagine that? That's like so funny and ironic. Laugh. Anyway. Back to this. Oh, and then, no, that's not where the story ends. And then, right, I put a band-aid on it, and it was like fine. And then I went to wash my hands or whatever, and I got a little bit of water on it. No, yeah. And then it started bleeding again, and I was like, oh no, let me wrap it up with a new band. Like, I put another band-aid on it to like swap it out, and it was like bleeding again. And then Annabelle had a band concert last night, so I went to her band concert, and I come home, I take off the band-aid to swap it. It was still bleeding. I was like, oh no. So then I went to my mom, and I was like, Mother, I'm bleeding. And she was like, oh my gosh, we'll put new skin on it. And new skin is like, it kind of stings, so I was like a little bit scared, you know, because you know, like sometimes when I was younger I'd get like these giant scrapes on like my knees, and then we'd have to put new skin all over it, and it hurt so bad. So I was like, I don't know about new skin, but like if I have to, because it's still bleeding. And then she was like, okay, it needs to stop bleeding first before you put the new skin on. So I had to get gauze, invented in Gaza, just saying. Anyway, I had to get gauze. And then I had to like hold it on my finger, and I held it there for like 5 minutes or more, and then it stopped bleeding, and then she put new skin on it, and then it kind of stung for a little bit, but honestly it hurt more when I cut myself, obviously. And yeah, so now I have that. Ooh, I'm not gonna show you because that's kind of gross. Anyway, just thought I'd give you that story time real quick while I'm supposed to be talking about this. Okay. So yeah, I usually read like children and teen fiction, which I feel like also warped like how I read this, because I was reading it basically the same, I guess, as I would like any other chapter book, like teen or like the One and Only Ivan, for example. I have a copy of it right here. I was reading this the same way like that I would read that, like with the same mindset, if that makes sense. I don't really know how to explain it. It's like a vibe, you know. I guess that doesn't help, but like I think the craziest thing to me about this was how unreliable Richard is as a narrator, because like in a lot of children, I mean teen fiction, I could see it being a little more unreliable, and in children's fiction it's like, yes, there are times where like the main character's in the wrong and whatever, but it's never a situation where you can't like, okay, probably teen fiction, but like children's fiction, right, which is mainly what I read when I was younger, is like you don't have to, you can trust them, you know what I mean? You can trust the main character when you're reading like a children's chapter book, because it's for children. And same with teen fiction, usually you can somewhat trust the main character, right? But this, you cannot trust this man at all. And that was like, I went into this, like, I guess that's what I mean by I went into it with the mindset of like reading a children's book. I went into this with thinking like, oh, like I could trust the main character because that's what I'm like used to being able to do, is trusting the main character. But you can't in this. And I didn't even think about him being like an unreliable narrator until I literally saw, like I said, I got a lot of like my deeper stuff from TikTok. I didn't realize like I shouldn't be trusting him until I saw TikTok being like, this man is so unreliable. And honestly, because in the book, right? Let's take a few steps back. In the book, when they murder Bunny, the way Richard describes the murder is like as though he didn't really have anything to do with it. He just watched, right? He led Bunny there, like, and like warned them that Bunny was coming, and then he just like watched the murder happen. But then I saw TikTok where they're like, you know, it's actually very likely, obviously this isn't confirmed, but it's very likely that Richard's the one who pushed Bunny. He's the one who pushed Bunny off the cliff. And when I saw that, I was like, You're so right. Like, I've been blindly trusting this guy because that's what I'm used to being able to do, is trusting the narrator and the main character. But, like, this is, I can't do that with this book. And that was kind of like when things kind of clicked into place for me in my brain, that I was like, I'm reading this wrong. I'm reading this in, like, the mindset that I would read the one and only Ivan, but, like, I shouldn't be. So yeah, he's basically like the most unreliable narrator I've ever experienced in my life personally. I know that like sounds insane, but like I said, I know it sounds like what do you mean, like the only unreliable narrator, like, but again, this is like maybe my second or third young adult novel I picked up like on my own. Okay, and then another thing about Richard, babes, honey, the closet is non-existent. The closet does not exist. I don't know. My guy, my poor dude, he keeps like being like, oh, I don't like bed. I don't like bed. It's the internalized homophobia. It's so sad. Like, the closet is non-existent, Richard. It's not there. It's not even glass. There's just no closet. Okay? First of all, every time he talks about Camilla, because, right? I'm not going to introduce the characters to you guys. I don't think I need to. Look it up. Every time I'm going to talk about I should have said that at the beginning too. I'm sorry. I'm going to talk about this book as though you've already read it. Just so it's more like conversational, I guess. I mean, it's a one-sided conversation, but you can look it up. I guess. You know, I'll briefly go over it. There's Richard, the main guy. There's Henry, who I guess is like the leader of the little classics group. There's Francis, who's, you know, just kind of there. We love Francis, but we'll get to Francis a little bit later. And then there's Bunny, the guy who gets murdered. I want to talk about Bunny a little bit too. He's an interesting one as a reader. And then there's the twins, Charles and Camilla. And basically the entire book, Richard is like in love with Camilla. He has like the biggest crush on her. He thinks she's like the most beautiful woman he's ever seen. She's like a goddess essentially to him, right? But every time, someone else on TikTok pointed this too, and this is something I did notice on my own, because I quite literally mean it when I say the closet is just not there. It is so not there. Every time he's admiring Camilla, right? He brings up, like, almost every time he brings up Charles, her twin brother. Or when he's talking about Charles, he's like, oh yeah, he's like low-key hot. That's not what he says, but that's like basically what he says. Every time he talks about Camilla and how hot and beautiful she is, and how gorgeous and ethereal she is, he's like, and Charles, and I'm like, sir? And then I bookmarked this page to tell you guys this part. And then there's page 290, at least in this copy, it's page 290, with Francis, who is gay. Just for context, he's like not like openly gay, but he's like pretty openly gay, like with his friends, I guess. And basically they're like both drunk, right? As context, they're both drunk, and then Francis like kisses him, and then my boy goes, matters progressed, my jaded nerves begin to stir. What? And then they get interrupted, but I was like, personally, as an asexual, I'm glad they got interrupted, because I don't need to read that, you know what I mean? But I was like, you're not straight, Richard. And like, I get, like, it takes time to, like, you know, find yourself in whatever. And you know, they're in college, she's probably exploring, whatever. But like, sir, the closet is not there. The closet is not there, okay? As someone who discovered they weren't straight late in life, you're around the same point I was, but I minus the gross stuff, like kissing. No, okay. Anyway, so yeah, like, what do you what matters progressed, bro? What? Anyway. Okay, technically I wrote down I want to talk about Julian next, but I actually very briefly want to talk about Bunny. I didn't write any notes about talking about Bunny, but I want to talk about Bunny, so we're gonna do that. That's what this series is about, is me getting to yap about whatever I want. So Bunny was such an interesting character to me, because like, I really didn't like him in the beginning. I mean, like, I didn't think they should have killed him. Like, I don't think they should be killing anyone. That's just my opinion. I don't think anyone should be killing anybody, but that's just my humble opinion on morals, you know, that nobody should be killing anybody. That's just my humble opinion on death. People shouldn't be killing other people. Anyway, but like, so Bunny's like straight up he's homophobic, he's racist, and he's a butt, you know? Like, he's not like a very good, nice person. But like, I think the weirdest part to me, I mean, okay, I feel like it kind of makes sense because you are still reading this through Richard's perspective. Like, in a sense, like, even though I couldn't trust him, I still like had like kind of that connection to him, I guess, like that emotional connection, because you're reading everything through like his eyes. So you're like him a little bit, if that makes sense. But like I found it so odd, like, as we got through the book, like, first of all, Bunny started to grow on me a little bit. I was like, okay, you are a homophobic butthole, and I would not want to be friends with you in real life. But, like, he has his sweet moments. Now, that doesn't, like, block out the red flags at all. Like, he's still not a very good person, if at all. But, like, you know, anyway, you still get, like, attached to the characters a little bit. And it's, like, after they killed him, and it was, like, later, I was, like, and when Richard was like, I kind of miss him, I was like, bro, I kind of miss him too. Like, so that was like very interesting for me, was to like not like a character but to miss them as well. There's just a lot of new experiences I had with this book because, again, I don't read young adult fiction very often. So yeah, that's just what I wanted to say about Buddy. I kind of missed him later, and I was like, that's really interesting because I also don't like him. Speaking of not liking, okay, actually, we'll do that later. We will do that later. I'm good. I have like multiple notes about me hating Richard, so we'll get to that. Now I want to talk about Julian. Let's talk about Julian. For anyone who isn't aware who Julian is the professor of their classics department. He's the one that's like leading this little group of 6. He is so weird. I don't like Julian. Makes me uncomfortable. Like, from the beginning, he's made me uncomfortable because like. He like handpicks out students, basically, essentially, and like isolates them. He completely cuts them off from the rest of the campus. The classics department is literally a cult. Like, that's not anything new. Like I said, I have nothing to add to the conversation, but like, the classics department is literally a cult. And it's very obvious because he isolates them from like all other students. He forces them to drop like all of their other classes, essentially, and only take classes with him. And then they go up to the, I think it's pronounced Lyceum or something. I don't really know. It's one of those words I've only read and never heard. And he literally like forces them to go like to his office, basically. I think they take his classes in his office. It's like very weird dynamic. And so he like isolates them. And he's like, he's obviously very like, he thinks he's better than everyone, you know? He's very, like, full of himself, and... Okay, that shouldn't have been so hard for me to word. I couldn't word. Anyway, but he's, like, he's just weird. I never liked his vibes. I was like, ew, why are you isolating these college students, man? It's weird. And, like... And then, okay, so we're gonna skip to the end, right? This is the other thing that makes it very clear that, like, he only cares about himself. And I feel like it's, like, relatively clear throughout the book, but, like, he truly only cares about himself. Because at the end, he learns that they committed 2 murders. That's right, for anyone who's never read this book. There are 2 murders, not just the murder of Buddy. Richard's only involved in the one in Buddy. I'll give him that. And Buddy wasn't involved in the first murder. Buddy didn't murder anybody, okay? I'll give him that. I'll give Richard this. He didn't kill the farmer. The other 4, they killed a farmer, like, in the beginning of the book. And then you don't find out about it until later. So spoilers. Anyway. But like, Julian learns that they committed 2 murders, and rather than like taking it to the police, which is like, okay, fair enough, like, they're your students, if people find out. Well, yeah, but rather than like going to the police or like, he runs away, okay? Basically, he learns they committed 2 murders and he runs. He leaves. And he doesn't leave because he cares about them or because he's trying to protect them. He leaves because he cares about himself. And again, this is very obvious. It's not anything new. It's very easy to pick up for the book because I'm not good at analysis. But like, what was I gonna say? I think I was gonna say, I can't remember. But it's like clearly he was trying to mold them because he isolates them, right? And because this is essentially a cult, he's trying to mold them into the students he wants them to be and into the people he wants them to be. And he didn't want them to be murderers. So when they became murderers and he realized, oh no, like, not only is this not like what I was trying to make them into, this is going to be my fault because I'm the one who made them into this, essentially, whether it was his intent or not. And then he was like at risk, so he had to like run, you know, because that makes sense, obviously. But like literally, honestly, this entire story is Julian's fault. Like, obviously, like if you really think about to the root of like everything that happens in this, it's because of Julian. He's the one who isolated them. He's the one who is teaching them all this stuff, and he's basically the one that led everyone except Richard, because Richard wasn't there at the time, I don't think, or something, or like he had just joined. Everyone except Richard. He's the one who led them all to hold a Dionysian Bacchanal. I wrote down the phonetics, cause not the phonetic, but yeah, he's the one who led them to hold like a Bacchanal, which is what led them to kill this farmer guy, right? And like, I get you can't like fully blame Julian for everything because, you know, they all have free will. They're the ones who chose to do this, but he influenced them into doing it. So like, ultimately, this entire book and both of the deaths are all technically, in my opinion, Julian's fault. Everything leads back to him because he was technically supposed to be like the adult in the situation, like the leader. Like, yes, part of me is like, on one hand, they are in their 20s. They should know better than to like murder somebody. That's like what you learn when you're like 2, is that you don't kill people. But like, at the same time, like, they're still in their 20s, you know? They're still pretty impressionable. Their brains are still developing. So like, it's kind of like parenting. I guess that's the best comparison I can make, is parenting, right? Like, you try your best to like turn your kids into the people you want them to be. Hopefully it's good people. It should be raising them into good people anyway. And it's like, but ultimately you can't control like every aspect of what your influence does to them. But like, he's still the one that planted the seeds. You know what I mean? Maybe he didn't. He's the one who planted them. He's the one who like helped them grow. Maybe he didn't necessarily like harvest them or like, you know, sit around and like wait for them to fully grow or whatever. But like, he's the one who planted the seeds. He's the one who like initially watered them. You know what I mean? So in my opinion, this entire book is Julian's fault. Anyway. Now, we're gonna jump back to Richard. Yeah, so, okay. I don't know if it's because it took me so long to finish this book. When did I start reading? Yeah, it took me about 7 months to finish this book because, again, I had school, so I didn't really get a chance to read it as fast as I wanted to. And, like, I don't know if it's because it took me so long, but, like, you really, like I said earlier, like, because you're reading through Richard's perspective and you're only hearing his perspective, like, whether you really want to or not, at least for me, whether I wanted to or not, I was still, like, emotionally connected to him in some way. I was still, like, seeing things through him, you know? So, like, whatever he felt, I would kind of feel, not exactly, but, like, some things, like, if he felt it, I would feel it too. So, like, when I got towards, basically after Buddy's murder, I found myself, like, really missing the start of the book when he first joined the group and everything was still, like, magical and whatever. Very, like, new and, like, secretive, and it's really interesting. I just think this book is very well written. I know a lot of people say, like I said earlier, there's like a debate between 2 of her books. I don't remember what the second one is, but it's like a lot of people say this book's written more messy. Like this one's written messier than her other one is. The other people like argue that they like, but I don't even know. I haven't read the other one, so I can't say. But like, I do think this is a very well written book because like, I like felt what Richard felt, kind of. You know what I mean? And it's like, I don't know. I just thought, just compliments to Donna Tartt. Very well written. And it's like, I don't know, like you really, for me at least, I really felt like I was Richard, kind of. Not like exactly. Like there's a lot of things he did that I just do not agree with, like murder. But it was like they're very unreliable shoes, but you're standing in them, you know what I mean? The soles are coming off, but you're there. And like, yeah, so like I said earlier, like I ended up missing like basically the same things he did. Like I missed Bunny, I kind of missed the beginning of the book. However, like I kind of felt like emotionally connected to, not like connected, but like I could like see where he was coming from. I was like in his falling apart, unreliable shoes. He's probably barefoot, honestly, I'm not gonna lie. But I was like, in his shoes, whatever. But I have never in my life disliked a main character this much before. Like, I do not like Richard. I do not like him. I liked him at the beginning of the book, and then I saw the TikTok where they're like, he probably pushed him off. And then I started thinking a little more critically, which, you know, I probably should have been doing from the get-go, but again, I'm used to just being able to blindly trust characters. But then I started thinking a little more critically, and I was like, I don't like him. Like, the more I read, the less I liked Richard. He has very few redeemable qualities, I don't think. I mean, he's very loyal, but it's, like, almost to, like, a fault, if that makes sense. Yeah, yeah, but, like, I don't like him. Like, he's... okay, first of all, bro literally learns his friends are murderers, okay? He learns his friends killed a guy. They killed a guy, okay? Like, gutted him, essentially. And he just didn't care. He was like, oh, okay, let me help you with Bunny's murder. What? What do you mean? And, like, as the book like progresses, right, and he becomes more entwined with the group, he becomes more like a part of the group, the less and less I would like him, and especially after Bunny's murder, because he just became like a butthole. I mean, like, he always was, because, you know, that's kind of how humans are. Like, you kind of, it's very hard to, it takes like a very long time to change as a person, and this book happens in, like, I actually don't, I think it's like a year. The span of the book is like mostly a year, other than the end, I think, ish. Yeah, I want to say it covers a year. But like, there were like little things that kept me from, okay. Basically, it was like a lot of stuff where I was like, okay, you're clearly not a good person. You're like okay with murder. You're a weirdo. Like, you know, but like he was, there were little things that prevented me from like hating him. Like, I still liked him a little bit because, like I said, he was pretty much like loyal to a fault, right? Like, he was very loyal to his friends. He would help them whenever, like when Henry, for example, at Bunny's funeral, like desperately needed, like, because he had really bad migraines and he desperately needed his medication, but he didn't have it. Like, Richard went out of his way to go find him pills. Illegally, yes. Did he steal them? Sure. But like, he went out of his way to get Henry the medication he needed, right? So it's like, and then when Henry was like, oh my god, like, I need alcohol too, and then he was like, yeah, let's not mix pills and alcohol, you know? He tried to like be the responsible one. So it's like, it was little things like that that kept me from like fully disliking him. But then there's that one scene with Camilla. I'm gonna call it the grape scene because I don't want to get in trouble. That scene pissed me off. That scene made me so mad. The way he's like, the light came into the window and everything like slowed down and froze for a little bit or whatever, and it was like so perfect. And I wanted to grab Camilla by her injured wrist, of which her brother gave her because he was abusing her, and I wanted to pin her to the bed and grape her. What? And then the sun passed and the moment was over. That was the scene that reminded me that Richard is literally a man. He is a man. Like, disgusting. He is a man. Like, that scene made me so mad, and any bit of, like, any tiny ounce of, like, possible, like, empathy or liking I had for him was just gone. I was like, what is wrong with you? What is wrong? She comes to you, okay? Camilla came to you to tell you what Charles did to her, because she trusted you. She trusted you to tell you what Charles was doing to her, because you were still supporting Charles, first of all. Second of all, like, and I get it, Charles was going through his own stuff, okay? Like, he was struggling with alcoholism, I get it, but like, he was like abusing Camilla, okay? And then like, he comes in and he's like, oh my god, I know Camilla was like abused, like emotionally, sexually, physically by Charles. I want to do the same thing. Bro, what? That literally reminded me. I was like, oh my god, he's a man. He's literally a man. What was I thinking? He is a man. He's a man. What was I thinking? And before anyone, if you're watching this and you're all like, oh my god, wait, but not all men, blah, 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 blah. First of all, leave, go educate yourself, grow up, and then come back, or just don't come back. I don't want you here if you believe the whole not all men thing. Second of all, and like, okay, first of all, real quick debate. Yes, I get it. It's not all men, okay? But we don't know which men it is, and that's why it is all men for us, for like people who are like, who are like feminine presenting, because we don't know which man is gonna hurt us, okay? So that's why it's not. Anyway, I'm not here to educate you. Go educate yourself, grow up, and then come back. If you don't want to come back, I don't care. Bye. so to anyone who stuck around, or to my not all manners who aren't leaving to go educate themselves, in this book, it is all men, okay? It is all men. There's not a single good man in this book other than, like, maybe a side character. And, like, even then, the side characters are, like, children. Like, there's, like, maybe, like, 2, like, boys I could think of who are good, and that's because they're literally children. They're, like, buddies, like, cousins or something. How does that work? No, they're, like, his nephews. Anyway, but in this, it is literally all men in this book, okay? Henry, Julian, Richard especially, like, obviously, Charles, and I'm so sorry, even to, I know there are my Francis girlies out there, okay? Okay, I get it. Francis girlies, I'm so sorry, but it is Francis too, okay? Think about it, okay? He is an accomplice to murder, okay? Listen, I love Francis too, okay? But he is still an accomplice to murder. It is all men in this book. It is all men, like, no joke. And yeah, literally when I read that part, I almost screamed. I was like, what? And then I was like, oh my god, it is all men. In this book, it is literally all men. It is all men. I am so sorry to my Francis girlies. It is all men in this book, okay? Like, don't even try to argue with me. It's all men. Anyway. Yeah, and then when it got to the end, right? And he was like, oh, I was dating Sophie. I was like, girl, run. Run. Run and don't look back. And then he, like, moved to California for her. And he was, like, complaining how he, like, dragged her back to California and whatever. And I was like, honey, break up with him. Leave. Run. Do not look back. And she did. She did run. But she left him, but they stayed friends. And I was like, yeah, you know what? I can't. Do what you want, girl, but, like, I honestly, I would cut ties with him completely. I wouldn't have even looked at him. I want to touch that man with a 10-foot pole, okay? I would literally, like, let me think, what would I do? What would I rather do than be in the mere presence of Richard Paypen? I would rather lick the floor of a subway, a New York subway. I would rather lick the floor of the New York subway. Like literally, I would rather lick the floor of the New York subway, like station or train or both. I would rather lick the floor of a New York subway than be in the mere presence of Richard Paypen, which luckily he's not a real person, so I don't need to worry about it. I don't need to go doing anything. But like, literally, I hate this man. Anyway. Yeah. So in the end, the very end of the book, everyone basically they murder Bunny, like, and then everybody just falls apart. Like, literally everybody falls apart. And, like, I do pity them. I pity them. Nothing more, nothing less. I just pity them. Like, Charles falls into alcoholism, and that's a really serious illness. And, like, I do feel bad for him and, like, the fact that he wasn't able to get the help he needs. But at the same time, he did murder someone. Like, I'm not saying he didn't deserve to get help for his alcoholism. I do think he did, because, again, like, addiction's a very serious illness. It's very scary and life-ruining, but he did murder someone. 2 people, actually. He did murder 2 people. So, you know. And, like, Camilla, she also murdered 2 people. You know, like, they all murdered somebody, at least one person. Literally everyone except for Bunny, because he was killed. So I'm like, I pity you. You know, I feel bad that your lives fell apart, but at the same time, it kind of deserved. You did murder someone. At least, all of them murdered at least one person, except for Bunny, who was murdered. You know, like, I don't know what else to say. I pity them, but, like, that's it. Also, the, like, very ending is so funny to me when Richard, like, right, he was in the dream. He was dreaming and Henry appears. And at this point, Henry was dead too. For anyone who doesn't know, Henry offs himself. And Henry just shows up and Richard's like, are you okay? Like, are you happy? Whatever. Like, you're dead? Like, are you okay in the afterlife? And Henry's like, nah, this sucks, but your life sucks too. Bye! And then he leaves! And that was so funny to me. He was just like, yeah, my life sucks, but yours is even worse. Peace. And then he leaves. And I was like, all right. He's like, I have an appointment. Bye. And I was like, okay. Bye, Henry. Honestly, I love that ending. I don't think it's meant to be taken as, like, a funny thing, but I read it and I started laughing. I was like, bro just said, your life sucks. Your life sucks. Bye. You'll be stuck with this for the rest of your life, and in death too. Bye. Just left. It was so funny. Anyway, I feel like this book was very full circle, you know, in a way. You know, Richard started the book like lonely. He was longing for community and family, and he was like, you know, he was really lonely. He was in California. His parents didn't care about him. He like really, he needed like a community, and he found that. He moved. He transferred to Hampton. He found that community. That community murdered a farmer, and then him with that community murdered Bunny, who was like kind of going crazy because he knew they killed the farmer, and he was like using it to kind of blackmail them, but also like, you know, poor Bunny was like sitting. I don't know why Bunny didn't just go to the police, honestly. I get it, but like he should have just gone to the police. Anyway, like I get it. He was also unstable. Like I said, nobody in this book's good. Literally all men in this book. All men in this book. And before anyone's like, oh, what about Camilla? Yes, Camilla too. Okay, Camilla's also a murderer. I never said that she's like exempt because she's a girl. Like no, she murdered people too. Okay. Anyway, but like bro found his community. His community murdered people. He went, oh okay, I'll join. And then it ends with basically the community falling apart, when them literally offing themselves, and then he's alone again. It's very full circle. It starts with him lonely and ends with him lonely, and honestly, it is fully deserved. He 100% deserves that. Honestly, I've been questioning if Henry even deserved to die, in the sense that like he's the one who orchestrated all of this. He's the one who orchestrated the Bacchanal. He's the one who orchestrated Bunny's murder. And I'm like, you don't deserve to die. You should be alive and suffering. Like, maybe that's mean of me to say, but like, you orchestrated 2 murders, man. Maybe, sure, the first one was an accident, but still. I honestly don't think he deserved to die. I think he deserved to stay alive and suffer. And maybe that's mean of me, but apparently he's suffering in the afterlife too. So, I guess it's fine. I guess it works out. Anyway, final thoughts. Let's wrap this up. We're almost hitting an hour mark, honestly. I'm kind of surprised. I thought I didn't have as many notes, so I was kind of worried this wouldn't take up an hour, but it is ish. I want to try to hit an hour because I think that'd be fun. Satisfying, I guess. So final thoughts. So I think the thing I kind of wonder most about, let me see how long I can keep this up. I think the thing I can't take this seriously if I want to try. Okay. I think the thing that I'm like most curious about the book is kind of like what kind of person Richard would have been had he decided to stay in California, or even if he had like gone to Hampton but didn't decide to pursue classics. I don't remember what he was doing originally, but like what would have happened if he had like, because like he ends up transferring to English because obviously the classics department shuts down when Julian runs. So I'm like, what if he had just like pursued English the whole time, or like what if he just never even left California in the first place? I always kind of wonder like what would have happened and like what kind of person he would be. But like at the same time, like I said, it takes a very long time for people to change, and it's like if he was willing to just kill Bunny like that, okay, this is hurting my arms. If he was willing to just like kill Bunny like that, like from the get-go, like obviously he would have been okay with murder, period, right? Like he clearly was okay with it because he wouldn't have done it if he wasn't. Like he claims he wasn't, but like let's be for real. Because like he literally wasn't involved in any of the Bunny drama basically until they started planning the murder, and then he was all for it. He was like, let's do this, let's kill a bee, let's do it, you know? And I'm like, so like clearly he literally joined it with no question. He was like, let's do it. Okay, we're killing Bunny. Okay, where do you need me? You want to figure out how to use poisonous mushrooms? I got you. Let me check your math. So like clearly he wasn't a good person from the beginning, because he would have been so okay with murdering Bunny if he wasn't. But like I just do kind of wonder like what could have happened and like where he would have ended up. Like I'm sure he still would have ended up lonely and sad because deserved. But like I guess I just wonder like what he would have done, right? Like what would you have done in California? Anyways, if you would like a song, that is like this book. I highly recommend California Dreamin' by the Mamas and the Papas. I love that song. I found that song through TikTok because I drew a fan art of Richard. And honestly, it was very good art. You know what? Let me find it. Let me get the username for you guys so you can see for yourself. It's very good drawing. I can't draw, so. This is completely necessary, by the way. Just give me a second. Mellifluous Venus. It's Mellifluousvenus. They did a very good drawing of Richard. Let me show you. And then that's where I got the song from, and I was like, oh my gosh. Wow. Look at this ugly MF. Oh my gosh, oops. Anyway, he makes me mad. I don't like him. That's gonna be it for today. Should we switch back? No, let me stay in my chair. Anyways, that's gonna be it for today. No stream this Saturday because I'm not gonna be home and I don't like streaming outside of my house because it doesn't feel safe to me. Because I'm gonna be in a whole nother country. No, I'm not. I'm just not gonna be home. So yeah, and then I'll be back next Saturday though. So not this coming Saturday, next Saturday I'll be back. So keep an eye on my Instagram for that. And then I don't know what we're doing though yet. I don't know. Maybe Minecraft. I don't know. I haven't hopped on the Breaking Point SMP in a hot minute, but that's because I kind of don't have anything to do. So we'll see. Yeah, that's gonna be it for today. I'm gonna try to stall a little bit because I want to try to end exactly at 10 o'clock because I think that'd be fun. What else can we talk about while we wait, guys? Oh, let me go warm my hands by the fire. Oops, I grabbed the wrong thing. Let me go warm my hands by the fire. And then let me go look at the rain by the window. Wow, it's raining very hard. Okay, let me sit back. Let me climb up this ladder. Ah! Oh, safe. Okay. Oh, and then let me think. Let me say next time I have 2 more things on my list of things I want to do a tangent about. The list is literally just 2 right now. But those things are Dead Poet Society and Come From Away. I can see Come From Away live this summer and I'm so excited. I love that musical so much. We're probably gonna talk about it. Okay. But yeah, follow me on Instagram and TikTok. I post 3 times a week on TikTok. That's how dedicated I am. So follow me on TikTok. Follow me on Instagram for like polls and stuff where you can vote on what I do for a week, stream for that week. And join my Discord for the most recent updates and to just hang out. I'm not gonna lie, we're not very active in my Discord, but like that's where I put all my updates first. So if you'd like to be very updated, then I'd go there. I'm trying to think. Do I want to let you guys sit on the stream ending stream? My eyelid just... Okay, I don't think you saw that, but it just twitched. Really weird. I'm trying to debate if I should let you guys just sit on my stream ending stream for a minute, or if I should screen for a minute, or if I should just like keep stalling. So how's everyone's day? Okay, you know what? I'm just gonna make you sit there. We're gonna end perfectly at 10 because that's fun. Bye-bye! I'll see you at 2 Saturday. Not 2, whatever. I'll see you March 16th. Bye-bye!